ओम ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। यस्य कृपा प्रयत्नाभ्यां स्थानमेतत् सुनिर्मितं तमेव स्वामिनं पूज्यं वन्देऽहं सादरं मुदा। With gratitude and reverence, I offer my namaskara to Pujya Swamiji, by whose grace and effort alone this wonderful place called Arsha Vidya Gurukulam was created. And by his blessings alone, it is continuing. My namaskaram to all of you. We are celebrating the 28th anniversary of this place called Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. Gurukulam means Guroho Kulam Gurukulam. Literally it means the residence of Guru, the teacher, the source of knowledge. And therefore Gurukulam means a place of learning. Learning what? Arsha Vidya. Arsha Vidya essentially means the knowledge of Vedas. So Arsha Vidya Gurukulam means a place of learning the wisdom of Vedas. How do you understand this word Arsha Vidya? As I said, Vidya means knowledge. And Arsha means that which has come from Rishis. Rishehe idam arsham. And what is the meaning of Rishi? There is a technical definition for it. Rishayaha mantra drashtaraha. Rishis are those who have seen the mantras, the mantra of Vedas. This definition is based on our understanding that Vedas, the body of knowledge, are not created by any human intellect. It is given by the Lord through some people who had purity because of their tapas. And those people through whom we have received the mantras from the Lord, those people are called Rishis. So Rishis are not the authors of Veda mantras. Even though many people think, even after study of Vedas or Vedanta for so many years, that is the understanding they have. That Rishis, they did some spiritual experiments, and based on those spiritual inner experiments, they came out with this wisdom, which is expressed in the form of these mantras, which are called Vedas. That is not the traditional understanding of Vedas. In our tradition, Vedas are considered to be apaurushaya. Means they are not creation of any human intellect. They are given by the Lord, they are revealed by the Lord through rishis for the entire humanity. And thus, Arsha Vidya means the wisdom of Vedas, which is received from rishis, received through rishis from the Lord. And these Vedas are 4 in number from one angle: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. From another angle, they are considered to be of 3 types. Veda mantras are of 3 types: Ring mantras, Yajur mantras, Sama mantras. And this entire body of knowledge called Veda is divided into 2 parts from the standpoint of the subject matter. The first part is called Veda Purva Bhagaha, otherwise called Karma Kandaha, which is dealing with the rituals and meditations. And it is occupying a big volume in the entire body of Vedas. The second part of Vedas is called Vedantaha. Vedasya Antaha Vedantaha. It is a positional name. And this Vedanta, otherwise called Jnanakanda, is dealing with the knowledge of the truth of the individual, the world, and the cause of this world, called Ishvara. Thus, Vedas have got 2 parts: Karmakanda and Jnanakanda. Jnanakanda is known as Vedanta. So, Arsha Vidya is in the form of Karmakanda as well, Karmakanda, and Arsha Vidya is in the form of Jnanakanda, called Vedanta, otherwise called Upanishad. And in this Gurukulam, we are learning and teaching the second part of this Arsha Vidya called Veda, and that is Vedanta. Regarding Vedanta and the teaching of Vedanta, there are so many misconceptions. So I would like to deal with this topic, that what are the misconceptions about this Vedanta. The first misconception about Vedanta is that Vedanta is a theory which is to be followed by a practice for special experience called self-realization. This misconception has some basis. Because, what is the basis? That many people, they study Vedanta and still there seems to be no transformation, and they continue to remain the same people. And therefore they think that Vedanta is only a theory. It has to be followed by some very special mystic sadhana, because of which there will be a very special mystic experience. This is a very, very popular belief, very prevalent in the spiritual world. Pujya Swamiji used to dismiss this belief very strongly. In fact, he is known for that. That is, Vedanta is neither theory nor it is practice. Then what is Vedanta? Vedanta is a means of knowledge. Like your eyes are means of knowledge. Your eyes and the operation of eyes are neither theory nor it is practice. So Vedanta is not a theory nor it is a practice. Vedanta is a means of knowledge and it should be treated as such. Because of not having this clarity, many people do not have proper approach towards Vedanta and therefore they are not benefited by the study of Vedanta. Therefore, this point which Swamiji used to highlight very much, and that is Vedanta is a pramanam. In Vedanta Sara, the opening statement is this: Vedanto nama Upanishad pramanam. Vedanta is a pramanam. Pramanam means the means of knowledge. Just as the eyes are the means of knowing the forms and color. My ears are the means of knowing the sound. Similarly, this Vedanta is a means of knowing the truth of the self, the world and the Lord. So this is the first misconception, that Vedanta is a theory to be followed by a practice. This statement has some basis. And whatever is to be conveyed by this statement, it can be taken in right, if it is taken in right spirit. What it means, that after studying Vedanta, if you do not get the benefit of Vedanta, perhaps you require some special sadhanas which will prepare your mind to receive the benefit of Vedanta. That part is acceptable. That if a person studies, it doesn't benefit, it means somewhere some correction, some refinement in the instrument called antahkaranam, the mind, is required. That is acceptable. But you cannot say that Vedanta is a theory. The second misconception is Vedanta or even Vedas in general are scientific. This is a very popular misconception. Vedas are not scientific, need not be scientific, should not be scientific. If we take this tight definition of science, if we take very loose definition of science, science means a systematic knowledge, perhaps we can call Vedas as science. But that is not the tight, regular, conventional definition of science. Science is a systematic enterprise for building and organizing the knowledge in the form of explanation of this natural world. What are things happening? That is understood with the help of this observation, measurement and experiment. Then only it is called science. For something to be called scientific, it has to be based on the methods and principle of science. And the principle of one important principle of science is that there is external reality, and external reality can be discovered by observation, measurement and analysis and experimentation. And the scientific methods are involving this formation of this hypothesis, the testing the hypothesis, or falsifying or confirmation of hypothesis. This is what the scientific methods are. Vedas are not available for that. The subject matter of Vedas is not available for such observation, measurement and confirmation by any other means of knowledge. And therefore, these Vedas are not scientific. If we further analyze this particular statement, that Vedas are scientific, we will ask this question: which part of Vedas you are talking about? Veda Purva Bhaga is scientific or Vedanta is scientific? Veda Purva Bhaga is talking about karma phala sambandha. If you do this karma, kariri yaga, you will get rain. If you do putra kameshti yaga, you will get a son. This is the subject matter of karma kanda. Now, how will you scrutinize this particular statement of Vedas? Not available for that. You cannot say that this Kariri Yaga, how did it create rain? Many people that tried, that this Yaga creates some smoke, and because of smoke these clouds will be formed, and because of that rain will come. All these ambak, they don't know science, they don't know Vedas, both perhaps. Because if this smoke can create clouds and clouds will get rain, then we can burn the tire also, and then smoke, and then we will have rain. There is no such thing. That cannot be called scientific. Scientists also will not accept. Vedas also, Vedic people also will not accept. Scientists also will not accept. So those who are struggling to prove Vedas to be scientific, they perhaps do not know Vedas, or they do not know science, or they do not know both. In Tamil, some saying is there, I am not 100% sure, but something like the turmeric powder is white like anjanam. So it is something like that. It means this person doesn't know turmeric powder. He doesn't know what white is and what this anjanam is. So similarly, those who are trying to prove this Vedas are scientific, they do not have correct understanding of Vedas, correct understanding of science. So let us not prove. Why do you have the pressure to prove it to be scientific? Everything need not be scientific. In fact, science itself has accepted that certain areas are beyond this what is called the field of science. Science itself has accepted. The singularity will never be known by science. Science has accepted. Because the density is so high. And in fact, they say that if we go further deeper, then there will be religious implications. And therefore, science, everything need not be scientific. Vedas are not against science. Vedas are not scientific, means not available for such experimentation. Yes, Yoga Shastra is available. Yes, we do agree. Because it deals with this body, it deals with the function of the mind, and available for experimentation. But this Punya Papa, Paraloka, etc., not available for such experimentation. Therefore, we need not have that pressure to prove it to be scientific. And we need not be apologetic about its not being scientific. Let it be there without being scientific. But when we say it is not scientific, you should not think that it is unscientific. What is unscientific? That which is dismissed by science, that is called unscientific. Vedas are not like that. Veda Purvabhaga is not like that. Vedanta also is not like that. Because Vedanta is talking about the true nature of the self, which is ashabdam, asparsham, arupam, without form, without color, without taste, and not available for perception. Therefore, Veda Purvabhaga is not available, Vedanta is not available. But at the same time, the subject matter of Vedas is not unscientific, means it is not irrational, it is not illogical. The subject matter of Vedas is not logical, nor it is illogical, it is translogical. What do we mean by that? When we say something is logical, it means it is proved by logic. That is called logical. What is illogical? That which is disproved by logic, it is called illogical. But the subject matter of Vedas cannot be proved by logic decisively, and it cannot be disproved by logic decisively. And therefore, Vedas are neither logical nor illogical, they are translogical or illogical. Like apolitical is there, illogical. Another belief regarding Vedanta is that Vedanta is only intellectual exercise doesn't do anything. That is not true. Because if it is only intellectual exercise doesn't do anything, then the transformation you are seeing in the disciples of Pujya Swamiji, who gave up everything and took sannyasa life, will not happen. Pujya Swamiji initiated about more than 200 sannyasis. They will not give up everything, if there was no transformation by Vedanta. So Vedanta is not an mere intellectual gymnasium or exercise only. It is, and in the form of, Vedanta is in the form of the means of knowledge, revealing the vision about myself. Another statement which is made very often, that Vedanta gives only intellectual knowledge. Then Pujya Swamiji used to say, this statement is absurd. Why? Because any adjective we use only when there is another variety available. We say green apple, we say the red apple. Why? Because both of them are available. So green apple has got some meaning. Why? Because other types of apple available. But you cannot say black milk. You cannot say even white milk also. Why? Milk is always white. So you need not say, today I brought white milk. Why? Because milk is always white. Similarly, when you say intellectual knowledge, what do you mean by that? Pujya Swamiji used to say, is there any nasal knowledge? Is there any dental knowledge? Knowledge is always taking place in the intellect. And therefore, every knowledge will be intellectual only. And it has to be intellectual because the ignorance is in the intellect. Where the problem is, there alone solution should be. In the intellect there is ignorance, therefore this knowledge has to come in the intellect alone. And therefore this Vedanta gives intellectual knowledge, that is not a right statement. But the spirit behind the statement can be validated. What is when person says that Vedanta gives intellectual knowledge, what he means, we understand what he says. What a person means to say is that Vedanta has been understood according to him, but it has not brought any transformation in his life. Vedanta is not assimilated in his life. That is correct. With that sense, if you are telling Vedanta gives intellectual knowledge, it is acceptable. But if you mean to say there is some different type of knowledge, then it is not our Siddhanta, our Sampradaya. Another misconception is that Vedanta takes away the devotion to Ishvara. Means before coming to Vedanta, people will have devotion, and after coming to Vedanta, the devotion for the Lord will go away. That is not correct. In fact, Vedanta makes your devotion highly refined, highly mature. The sentimentalism or that sentimentalist attitude was there, that just crying for the Lord, etc. may reduce. Because a person discovers that in reality the Lord is not different from me. But at the level of Upadhi, I am an individual and he is total. An individual surrenders to totality, that appreciation doesn't go away. And that is why this devotion to the Lord doesn't go away. The best example to substantiate this statement is Pujya Swamiji. Pujya Swamiji was one of the greatest teachers of Vedanta, and you could see devotion in his life. In fact, when he concluded his speech in the US, last speech he gave, the last word he uttered was grace, 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 grace. So you cannot say that Vedanta takes away devotion. If Vedanta is taking away devotion, means Vedanta is not digested properly. Another thing that people say that Vedanta makes the person very dry, heartless, emotionless. That is also not true. Puja Swamiji is the example. He was full of compassion. He was not dry at all. Whoever has met him knows that he was full of compassion, full of love. If Vedanta makes the person dry, he would be the driest because he was embodiment of Vedanta. But we did not see that. And therefore, this particular misconception that Vedanta makes the person dry is not correct. Yes, if Vedanta not digested properly, not taken properly, misunderstood, then this can be a side effect. But Vedanta is not meant for making the person dry. So these are various misconceptions about Vedanta. Vedanta is a means of knowledge, revealing the true nature of myself. Then somebody may say, what is the use of this self-knowledge? Vedanta reveals, Vedanta gives self-knowledge. What is the use of self-knowledge? We have so many knowledge and we don't have so many knowledge. Physics I know, chemistry I don't know, computer science I don't know. So many things I know, so many things I don't know. My life doesn't seem to change. This particular question will be answered when we understand the human struggle. Human struggle is to be free from this self-non-acceptance. Whatever a person does, there is continuity of this one factor, and that is self-non-acceptance. Whatever I do, whatever I achieve, I am not completely acceptable to myself. I always want to become different because I am not happy being what I am. I was a clerk, then I want to become an officer because then I will be acceptable. Then manager, then the director, whatever. So self non-acceptance is the bondage. And from that one wants to be free. And one struggles a lot to be free from this problem of self non-acceptance. Many things he achieves, but still continue to have this problem. And in fact we try in some vicarious manner. I cannot accept myself, therefore I am seeking acceptance from others. Let others accept me. Let me have acceptance from others, so that I will be free from this problem of self non-acceptance. And therefore we try to get this approval from others. We keep struggling. I want to keep my spouse happy, children happy, boss happy, so that he will accept me, she will accept me. And I tell you, there is no such a thing called free lunch. And therefore what happens? The world will extract the price to give the approval. And we have to struggle a lot to get the approval. And in spite of the struggle, we don't get complete approval from others. Not even from one person. Today she is happy with me, tomorrow not happy. Today, for 5 days happy, 10 days not happy. So I can't get even approval from a single person. And even if one person gives me approval, it is not enough. Because I feel that only one person is accepting me, not others. So I want acceptance from all, which is never possible. Why? Because whomsoever I know in that group of people, some people want me to be in a particular manner, some people want me to be different. Therefore conflict. Therefore I cannot make everybody happy. In fact, in struggle of making everybody happy, I make everybody unhappy. That's what happens. That you want to make these people also, that people happy. So both of them will be unhappy finally. And therefore, this getting acceptance from the world, that also is not going to work. Only possibility is that perhaps I am acceptable. In reality, I am acceptable. But I do not know how. And therefore, my problem of non-acceptance may be due to ignorance, not knowing what really I am, not knowing that I am really acceptable. And because of that ignorance, there is a problem of self-non-acceptance. And when ignorance is removed, this problem of self-non-acceptance goes away. And ignorance goes by knowledge. And knowledge is received only from pramanam. And pramanam for this self-knowledge is Vedanta. But Vedanta cannot be studied by oneself. One has to study Vedanta from Guru. Tad vijnanartham guru mevabi gacchit. And therefore we require Gurukulam. Which is Swamiji, in some place he has very beautifully said that the study of Vedanta is a serious study of oneself. It entails the personal attention and care on the part of the teachers. And this Arsha Vidya Gurukulam is an honest attempt to provide the students with such environment. So this is the spirit of this Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, where a person learns about himself, about the world, about Ishvara, and he discovers that the truth behind oneself, the world and Ishvara is one and the same. And in this discovery, the sense of this limitation, the self-non-acceptance goes away. And he is in harmony with the totality. Everything is luxury for him. Something happens all right, doesn't happen all right. He will be doing whatever is to be done. We have seen in Pujya Swamiji's life. But something doesn't happen, doesn't affect him. That is the benefit, the result of this wisdom given in this Gurukula. And with this vision, Pujya Swamiji started this Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. And we pray to Bhagavan, Lord Dakshinamurti, that may we continue his vision and may we get blessed by this Arsha Vidya which will transform our life. With this, I conclude. Om Tat Sat.